Welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you who might be wondering what Drakenmemoria is, well, it's about Dungeons and Dragons. More specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if this isn't what you want to watch, well, too bad, we've already started. And we're not going to change, and we're not going to change the next one either, so either you join us for good and start enjoying Dungeons and Dragons, or, well, just go watch something else. That's all there is to it. But for everyone else, those of you who might be here because you've actually watched an episode before, because you've actually enjoyed it, you've heard of someone who enjoyed it, or you're one of our past players, as I believe one is actually right now in the chat. So, to all of you, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and we hope we'll be able to give you a entertaining evening in some way or another. If not, just have fun laughing at us. That can also work too.
Hey, that's entertainment.
Yeah, as long as it's fun for you. But that's about it. So, I think that's about everything we can say. We're not a big channel. We don't have a lot of sponsors. We don't have anyone giving us money to do this.
Wink, wink.
So it's there's not a lot to say. There's always Kearney City Guild that lets us post to warn people that there's a live stream. So if you're from there, it's nice. Say hi. At least we'll know you're from there. For those of you who are wondering who they are, well, it's a Discord channel where people can go to find a Dungeons and Dragons group, or members, or anything relating to Dungeons and Dragons. There's a link below to their Discord channel. Otherwise, usually half an hour in, we have Chaotic Calling, who usually joins us. So if you're there a bit early, welcome. It's always fun to have you from the start. If not, well, thank you for joining us in advance. Because I'm usually explaining something when you arrive, so... But yeah, and same thing. If you're interested in knowing who they are, there's a link below in the panels. If you're watching this live on Twitch or VOD or on YouTube, link below. They're a Dungeon and Dragon channel also. They have 3 campaigns, I think, currently. 3 or 4. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's it. That's everyone helping us, giving us a boost, so that's about it. Hey, if you want to be mentioned in the credit in the beginning, just join my Patreon and start giving us money. There's nobody there right now, so I can fit in a moment to mention your name. That'd be easy enough. But yeah, that's about it. So let's get started. So, in the last episode, the party finally managed to enter this abandoned arcane laboratory. The first one found in the island of Estrin, in the Mistal Island chain. So, a bit curious, a bit apprehensive also. They all entered, and they faced their first puzzle. A very complicated map puzzle that punished those who didn't solve it properly. And so, bit by bit, Jorg, Fisher, and Remy did their best to solve the puzzle, while audience, well, eventually fell asleep. But he did try a little bit, got shocked a few times. But Dragonborn, especially those of his type, can bear the electric therapy quite well. But nevertheless, after a little time, they managed to find a way to get through. Fisher and Jorg went on ahead. Remy took the time to wake up audience who had fallen asleep, resting on the wall near the landing where they were, with his, well, I'd like to say friend, but he really doesn't see that creature as all that much of a friend, more like an acquaintance. But Ogonek also had started to rest right beside audience. And so, those of you who are artists, if you're watching now, or you are someone who's going to watch in the future, I would very much love this moment to be drawn by fan art. There would be something very interesting in seeing this scene of audience sitting, resting on a wall, half asleep, with Orunak also sitting, leaning on audience, half asleep also, because they like them each other so much.
Which is weird, because usually Dragonborn rest on trees, not the other way around.
There would be something slightly poetic in this. But nevertheless, this is where we left off for the last episode, just as Remy arrived and woke up audience to guide him across the floor where the party had found a safe way to get across. And so audience, led by Remy and then followed by Orunak, you made your way across the deadly floor and walked all the way to the other side of the room where Jorg and Fisher were waiting for you. And you all find yourself in the second landing in front of a long corridor. So, Jorg, Fisher, audience, Remy, Ogunak, what are you all doing?
How long is this corridor?
The corridor in front of you there's about a 5-foot space right in front of you where the flooring seems to be made out of dull gray marble. But then right after that, there's about 15 feet of flooring that has a color very similar to the room that you just left. And beyond those 15 feet, there is, it's a bit hard to tell, but around another 100 feet before getting to the end of the corridor to another door. Oddly enough, there is a little bit of light in the room coming from the floor, but nothing else. And this is where you are.
Oh, by the way, how much time did it actually take for us to like between entering that last room and reaching the end exit?
Well, I'd say from everything you tried and thought about, and we also add in a few of the conversation that you have. Some was just you thinking among yourselves, but some of it was actually conversation. I'd say 10, 20 minutes.
Okay, just making sure. Honestly, it's like mostly just because in Ramey's experience, long hallways usually don't bode well, especially after you've just exited a trap room. So I guess
Long
he's just
hallways
going to
are
be
always suspicious.
So I guess he's going to be like, yeah, he's going to be like moving forward carefully, uh, like like uh, like even kind of like feeling around, investigating the walls as he travels, just in case something was like set up.
Okay. Well, if you're paying this close attention to everything around you, that would be investigation. So make an investigation roll, please.
Can I assist?
Yes, of course.
It's like you check one wall, I'll check the other. Well, it's not going to get much better, but who knows? Never mind. With Fisher's assistance, that's a natural 20.
All right.
Hey.
So you start investigating the wall. The first 5 feet seem to be very normal space, sort of as if there was a small buffer between the 2 rooms. But as soon as you enter the next one, you do realize that the hallway is slightly larger than just 5 feet, maybe 8 or 9 feet wide. So there's enough place for 2 people to be standing in. But as soon as you enter, to your right, you notice that there are 3, what looks like 3 gems set in the wall. They're about, for Fisher, it would be waist high. So for Remy, it's a little bit higher than that. And one gem is blue, the second one is yellow, and the third one is green. Investigating the wall like this, you do notice that everything seems to be very smooth, and the gem are actually not coming out of the wall. They seem to be under some sort of completely transparent material. They're just under the surface. You get the feeling that if you could break the wall, you might be able to touch them, but they're meant to be protected by this sheet of very transparent material. Under it, you see something that's been smudged there, as if someone was trying to write something with something that could have been used, but it feels like it didn't hold up very well. However, since you rolled a natural 20, for a maximum of, for a grand total of what?
25.
25, okay. It takes a little while, but you think you can manage to read what's written, what they were trying to write. However, you do notice that it's the same handwriting as it was behind the note that you got from the previous room. So you'd need audience's help to read it, but you can just make out what it is. Probably even copy it and make it more easy to read it on a piece of paper.
Rainy, like a little child with a drawing, just kind of like holds it up to audience.
I will, still rubbing the sleep from my eyes from my nap, kind of look down and be like, ah, yes, another note. Let me see.
The note says, resets every 4 hours.
The note says resets every 4 hours. So maybe this next puzzle we have to do in 4 hours? I don't know. Or I don't know, maybe the whole place resets in 4 hours. But I don't know.
Well, probably not the whole place, but at the very least this hallway, which means we'll probably have to solve it again on the way out, depending on how long we take.
Well, there might be another exit. We don't know, but yes.
Yeah. If not.
But I mean,
what?
if we go out and try to rest, we might
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
We'll have to come back in and solve it again.
Yeah.
The colors of the gems were something blue and then green.
Blue, yellow, and green.
Oh, blue, yellow, and green. Okay.
Do any of them look valuable?
Since you can't actually touch them, make a perception roll.
Fair enough. 6.
So we have this moment that feels a bit like when you have these cat trying to grab something from an iPad. You're just there and trying to get to them, and well, you know, it's shiny, but can't get to it.
Do I still have my pick in my pack? No, I'm not gonna do that.
It's made by a mage, so you know there's a good chance that there's magic in it. Could be very valuable, but that's about as far as you can get in your deduction.
By the by, like I guess maybe while audience is like really trying to figure out like how do I get behind this, Rainy is has opened his book again because detect magic has faded by this point. So
okay. So while you're trying to figure out if there's a way to get behind this plate, and frustratingly enough, the entire wall seems to have been made in a single sheet of material. There's no seam anywhere. You'd have to try and break the wall itself to get to them. While you're doing this, Remy has started to make his ritual casting. And okay, so he's done this several times before, so you know you have a little bit of time. I mean, while he's doing this, maybe Jorgen Fisher, is there something you'd like to do? Technically, you have 10 minutes.
Is there... So are we on like another landing that is distinct from the rest of the hallway? Or are we just at the beginning of a hallway?
No, it's really just the beginning of a long hallway, but there do seem to be a difference in the flooring that you're standing on right now from the flooring 15 feet ahead of you. Just in the coloring and in the fact that they slightly glow, just like in the room before. But this place doesn't feel like it's a landing of any sort. It's just a long hallway with different color tiles.
Okay. In that case, I would, while he's doing that, I would just kind of walk up to the edge of the landing before the first colored tiles and take a good look at them. Do they have any glyphs on them? Are they just softly glowing? Do they look like the ones previously?
Very similar. Make a perception roll.
Oh, that's not helpful. It's a 4.
Right.
We're back.
Uh-oh.
So you start evaluating this, and yeah, it's a floor. And then you hear Terranad from inside of you like, "Oh God, I've just become blind. Can you move a little bit?"
Ice Fisher's body just covered in blind spots, I swear.
Yeah, I
Even
guess
in his own
so.
eyes.
It's just all of those
That,
playing, moving. It's weird. It's creating blind spot, and just the fact that if you have your shoulders slightly bent to the right, you can see left. There's something weird about this, but
And then because he brings that up, I totally stop paying attention, looking at the floor, and just start like doing like weird movements and like asking him if that works. Just like kind of nervously or uncomfortably shifting around.
so you basically see Fisher
Totally abandoned, staring at the floor.
starting to move as if he was signaling a plane to drop by. Okay, is that better? No, can you see it now? Right? Okay. So, Jorg, as you're seeing this very intriguing dance from a machine you're not sure is actually alive, what do you want to do?
Is Fisher doing a robot? Is that what we're saying here?
Well, I want to walk up to Raimi while avoiding his flailing arms, and then, avoiding.
It's Fisher.
robot's flailing arms.
Okay.
Yeah, Raimi's not.
He is
flailing.
inventing
And
the robot.
I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on Raimi.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough to do.
Electrified, yeah, for 7.
So, Remy, as you're ritual casting this, you feel a gentle hand touching you, and then, that little wound that you had felt like burnt on your hand. It's just gone, and it's so much easier now to ritually cast your spell. Oh.
He's no longer distracted by the weird smell of chicken.
Yeah, neither am I. I was getting hungry.
All right, so as we have this very special image of audience trying to get at the gem like a cat trying to claw at a fish on an iPad, and Fisher flailing his arm around trying to shift in the position where Terranad can actually see around him, and Remy ritual casting something while being healed by Jorg. I wish so much we had more people watching us. I'd love to have a fan art of this moment. Remy, you finished ritual casting your detect magic, and just like in the room before, again, you notice on the walls and on the floor the same 3 types of glyph. So there's evocation, divination, and conjuring, I think it was.
Conjuration, yes.
Conjuration, yes. However, as you turn around and look around, you notice that there is a faint, different kind of aura coming from the 3 gems, and it is abjurations.
The gems are giving abjuration.
Yeah.
How about the transparent wall in front of them? Is that giving them off anything?
It's not giving off any specific school. It's just giving off a magical aura. There's something magical about it, but it doesn't exactly define itself within a school of magic. Sort of just like watching magical ice. It's magical. Probably tougher than normal material, but not infused with a particular school of magic.
Raimi's going to stare down at the glowing tiles and say, "Different day, same shit." But then points to the gems inside the wall, and this is a question for you, Draken.
Okay.
Do the different schools of magic have like an associated symbol?
Yes.
Okay. So then Raimi is going to point to the gems, and he is going to minor illusion the symbol of abjuration.
Okay. Which looks like a bit abjuration. Oh yeah, it looks a bit like a trident. Well, actually, I think as an Eldritch Knight, I think abjuration is
Right.
something that you would recognize, the symbol.
It is one of the 2 schools I can learn.
So
Naturally.
you would probably recognize the symbol that Remy is drawing as being the symbol behind abjuration.
Okay. And that's on the gems, Raimi?
Raimi nods.
Do we think it's meant to protect the gems, or it is something that the gems are doing? If that makes any sense.
Well, that's a bit hard to tell. So, from your knowledge, let me see what are the abjuration spells that an Eldritch Knight has.
I currently have absorb elements and shield.
Okay.
Eldritch Knight can learn any abjuration or evocation spells that a wizard can.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I've made spell lists for every single class and subclass in Dungeons and Dragons. So I have one that's specially for the Eldritch Knight, and I know that every few levels you can basically for every spell level that you have, you can add one that is outside of these. All right, so well. A lot of abjuration spells. All right, first of all, make a Arcana roll for me, please.
Ooh. This is the one Terranat is helping out with right now.
Audience, the audience wants to know if you're all right.
Oh boy, that is a 10. I rolled. This new die is doing good so far. I rolled another 3.
Okay.
It's a flat 10.
I was entranced by the gems.
Okay.
We're so proud. Actually, would Raimi be allowed to make a roll, even though it wouldn't be nearly as helpful?
Sure. I mean, you've had a lot of dealings making scrolls, so especially low-level spells, you'd have a good knowledge of them.
I say helpful just because, like, if he knows a lot, there's only so much you can say. Raimi gets a 17.
So, Fisher, are you there? And well, you know, it's abjuration spells. You know, there's and they're really for. You have Remy doing the.
Yeah. There's shield, and there's absorb elements, and then there's
So
some other ones.
you know that abjuration can easily be used to detect, absorb, and or repel. So you'd guess that it's the function of these gems are most likely one of those 3 elements, either to detect something, to absorb something, or to repel something.
Amy's going to. Exactly how much difference is there between like the gems and the surface of the wall that's blocking him?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like,
how
are they
deep
like
in
pretty
the
much
wall
close
are
to
they?
the surface? But just
Um,
like barely.
Pretty much. You'd guess that it's only maybe half an inch, 3/4 of an inch from the surface to the gem itself. From what you know, most spell can usually penetrate um, material of this thickness, unless there is a magical protection around it. So if you look at spells like messaging, they can usually get through an inch of material. So they're not far enough from the surface that they wouldn't be able to pick up what's going on in the room or things done in the room.
All right, Raven will try at least two things before he does the only other thing left. Raven is going to like walk up to the gems, and he's just going to tap the surface before the yellow one. It's surface right in front of the yellow one.
Okay. Um, just tapping it.
Yep.
The wall feels pretty solid. It doesn't feel like it's hollow, and there's no sign, just from what you're doing, that would indicate that this is something fragile. It's not like
Okay, so
glass. You won't be able to just break it.
Mm-hmm. So it seems as though the gems are more baked into it, not like just behind a wall, basically.
Yeah, it's not like they're protected by a sliding window in front of it.
Okay. I guess Raimi will still go ahead and try this.
Okay.
Raimi is going to see if he can tap one of the gems behind the wall using Mage Hand.
Okay. You conjure up your mage hand, you try to make it go forward, and just as it touches the wall, you recognize resistance. So it's just like touching a wall.
Oh, well, now he's going to try seeing if he can make the hand appear beyond the wall. Which he can do. But if it's
hollow,
supposedly if there's no intangible space.
Yeah. So you try and figure out if there would be a hollow place and try to focus the hand so that it reappears in this place, and nothing happens. There doesn't seem to be any hollow place on the other side of this material.
And I guess we'll just like turn to the others and say, well, Raimi, in for a copper, in for a gold.
What? What are you?
Suddenly you have Fisher doing his weird dance. What?
Yeah. Fisher's a bit distracted right now, apparently. He's like, I figured out the last one. He's got to have some time to recharge.
It's the juices in his head, they need to re-soften and circulate well.
Yeah.
Well, should we go forward and see what happens?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I'll go first.
Cool.
And I will
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Can
Well,
audience
first
stay?
I am
Can
going-
audience stay looking at the gems while Fisher walks forward to see if any of them light up or anything?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna walk to the edge and just take out a
So, audience, make a perception roll for me, please.
Okay.
You're staring at 3 gems. It's not a high DC.
Oh, yeah, but is it higher than 4?
I don't know. You might get
Guess we're on the
distracted.
same page.
I mean, is the DC higher than Raimi's passive?
Most likely not.
I would like to take out one of my arrows from my quiver
Okay.
and just kind of underhand like toss it out into the room
Okay.
or down the hallway.
You toss it down down the hallway, and it just flies off and falls to the ground, slide a little bit, remains there. Nothing seems to happen to this. What's your passive perception?
Mine?
Yeah,
I believe it's 11.
11.
Yeah.
All right. That's about it. You do notice there's seem to be a faint static response about 30 feet away when the metal tip of the arrow just falls to the ground and starts sliding.
Like electrical static?
Yeah.
Ominous. Well, let's see how this goes. And I will take a step out onto
All
I guess
right.
the first tile.
You make one step on the first tile, and immediately you feel the air charging around you. And would ask you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Hey, I'm supposed to be good at those. You guys ready for the third 3 in a row?
Yes.
Hey, that is a 16.
16. All right. So, because there is this moment where it seems like something's going to happen, you have just enough time to brace yourself, and then suddenly, for about 30 feet from where you are, and, well, basically one step behind you, and 30 feet in front of you, you see the air around you flash freeze and remain in this state for a while. You take 15 points of cold damage divided by 2 because you succeeded on your saving throw.
Okay.
Okay, that was.
But it
before
remains
or
there.
after.
So,
That-
yeah, basically 7 hit points
Yeah.
of cold damage. But it
I was like
stays.
15 on a save? What?
But it remains there. The entire 30 feet from where you are forward, the air just remains flash frozen like this, giving you an impression that for every turn that you're going to spend in there, you're going to take cold damage.
I can move though, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I will step backwards.
So you take a step backward and you see the air, that's a weird thing to say, but it's accurate, sort of relax, and the cold of it just seemed to dissipate slightly. But there is a smell of cold that remains there, like stepping inside of a freezer. It remains hanging in the air. So
Wow.
most likely it can still do this again and again.
Did I notice any of the gems? Oh, right, I rolled 10. Probably not.
Does my
So-
does my detect magic notice any difference between the gems and also the tile that he stepped on?
All right, so everything that happens. Audience, you're looking at the gems, and you see Fisher taking a shy step forward, and just as you look at this, come on, take your step, damn it, and you look at him taking the step, and there's this moment where you see everything start to shimmer around him and flash freeze, and you have this instinct of, ooh, oh, the gem, damn it.
There.
Remy, with the detect magic, you can clearly see that the entire 30 feet section from where Fisher made the first step, the tile that is there, and 30 feet forward, all of this has radiated evocation magic, while the flash freeze was there. And of course, there was a little flash from the divination room. The gem themselves did not change while this was happening. And as soon
And that
as
tile
Fisher...
that he stepped on, still seems active.
Oh, yes. But you do have the feeling that it's not the same type of tiles, because of looking at this with Detect Magic. It's not the same thing as the room before you. Each tiles aren't individual. It feels like it's a 30 feet long tube made to flash freeze anything that enters it.
Okay, so like the 15 feet of tiles feel like a single unit that activated at once.
Well, the 15 feet where you are doesn't seem to have any magic on it, but the 30 feet themselves, from where Fisher made the first step and started to try and walk, that does feel like a single emanation of magic.
And
Okay,
it's
like
still
it-
hanging out around, right?
Yes, the air still, since you've stepped away from it, you do, Remy, because you can see it, you do see that the magical emanation has gone back to its previous state, but there's still this smell of freezer in the air.
Okay.
Meaning that
So it did reset. It's not still currently cold, but it will do it again. Or it
Most
seems
likely.
like it will do it again.
you, you'd think
Okay.
that
Okay.
it's most likely going to do the same thing if you try and walk on it again.
Okay. I was thinking it might stay cold for 4 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I was like, oh man. Okay.
Okay, in which case...
Audience, that was really nice to watch, though. It's really... You really get why you got distracted. There was this shimmer and this flash of freezing. It was almost like fairy tales. You know, when you listen to human talk about fairy tales, because Dragonborn don't really... in front of fresh falling snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, just for clarity, in total, the active squares seem to be 15 feet across.
Okay, so
It's 30 feet.
the...
We're on a
No,
landing.
no, no. What I'm asking about is like the active parts of the floor,
okay,
like the
so...
ones that were emanating the evocation, divination, and conjuration.
Okay, so when you enter this corridor, there's a 15 feet where nothing's emanating from there. It's sort of your place where you can walk in. After this 15 feet, you have a 30 feet section that just radiated evocation magic and flash froze. The entire section.
Okay. So
How
I was
wide is it?
only asking. Like basically I was only asking just because when I came in previously out certain area was emanating those three things.
Yeah.
So it's that area basically.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um.
How wide is the hallway?
Nearly 10 feet wide, something like 9 feet. And this one is slightly taller. So the roof is slightly higher, I mean. It's about 10 feet high. So, audience, you actually have room to stretch a little bit in this one.
It's good.
And floor tiles. Are they kind of set up like the last room, like where there's multiple tiles, or is it just like
No,
one?
it's just one long hallway. There do seem to be decorative separation to make them look like it's a series of floor tile, but from when you saw the magic appear and how long it is, you really got the feeling that, oh, okay, this is actually a single thing for 30 feet long.
Mhm. Okay. Audience, you already tried poking the crystals, right? Nothing happened?
I mean, I couldn't get to the crystals.
Uh-huh.
I could try and break the thing surrounding the crystals.
I'm not
Speaking
sure
of the
that'd be a
hallway-
great idea.
I could break the wall.
Hey, you did actually once, I believe in the past, try to break an orb with your lightning breath. Who knows?
Yes,
The walls of this thing are... How tall did you say the ceiling is?
10 feet.
10 feet. Okay. The walls, it's like worked stone, right?
Yeah.
Eh.
It's been crafted by a mage.
Is it like perfectly like put together and flat, or are there like seams and or cracks in like sections of stone?
Make a perception roll.
I have 10 climbing pittons, and I'm wondering if I can place them out along the wall to go around.
Make a perception roll.
Uh, 15.
15, alright, that's better than before. So you look at this and you have the feeling that at least for the next 30 feet, seams are actually decoration. It's not actually real tiles. The tile itself is actually 30 feet long and carved to look like it's 15 tiles one after the other.
Okay. So, yeah. So it doesn't look like there's anywhere I could
Maybe you'd be able
secure some
to
climbing pittons.
maybe you'd be able to break the surface of the wall if you're willing to try that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Anybody else got any other ideas?
What's at the end of the hall?
Make a perception roll.
All right, I'll make a perception roll.
A monster.
Ooh, 21.
21. That's good. So you look at this, and after the 15 feet of corridor on your side, you do recognize that there is about 90 feet of corridor before it falls to another place that's very similar to where you are right now. And on the other side, you do notice there are 3 gems exactly like those who are on your side. And the colors are the same on it. The door seems to be opened on the other side. With the perception that you just got, I'd say the first 30 feet where you are, you even perceive now better this cold air that's just in front of you. But you also, because of the arrow that just slid by, you do notice that there seems to be a static element to the next 30 feet. And the arrow ended up in the last 30 feet, in the last following 30 feet. It feels like you see corrosion starting to take place on the metal part of the arrow on the last 30 feet of this corridor.
Ooh.
It's not a
Hey,
very
guys.
strong corrosion.
Wait, how many numbers were there? It said 12 once,
That's-
and now there were 5 numbers. Well, 3 numbers.
You guys, it looks like the arrow, well, there's the same 3 gems on the other side, and it kind of looks like the arrow head is corroding in some way. It's a little spooky.
Randy looks to Fisher, points at the gems in the wall, and minor illusions a flame.
On these ones or the far ones?
Points to the ones next to you, like the closest ones to them.
Okay. You think we're starting with a specific one or just fire away?
Maybe just minor illusions, the flames again.
Alright. I will shoot a firebolt at the yellow crystal.
Okay. You gather the energy in your hand, you focus, you throw the firebolt. When the firebolt hits the wall, the gem does seem to react, goes a little brighter, and then you see your firebolt as if it dispelled, got absorbed, but then you see the gem just going back to its normal effect, to its normal brightness. Fisher and Remy, I'd say make an Arcana roll for me, please.
Don't
You might be
roll a
confirming what I think I already figured out.
26.
Whoa.
Let's go.
That one's actually better than mine. I rolled it. That's a 23.
Okay, well, it's still pretty good. But you both look at this and you have the same idea in your mind. Wrong element.
Randy points to audience and then points at the yellow gem.
Do you want me to use lightning breath?
What
Randy
color
nods.
is audience's lightning?
Yellow.
Okay.
Um,
Fire
What if you
wasn't the
cast
right one for
fire on the red?
that. There is not a red one.
There's a blue,
Oh, right.
a yellow,
Right, there's
and a
a
green.
blue, a yellow, and
green. I'm colorblind.
green
That's
is
not-
corrosion, blue is ice, yellow is probably lightning.
Yeah. Although
Um,
now I'm thinking maybe because it is currently... How long in total is the hallway?
90 feet long, and there's a 15 feet space at each end where there doesn't seem to be glowing tiles.
Okay.
So
then there's a
120
total of-
feet long.
Okay. And the crystals on the wall, is it left to right, blue, yellow, green, or is it blue, yellow, green coming forward from the door?
From the door, it's blue, yellow, and green. Green being the
Okay.
furthest one.
So then, I'm thinking these crystals, blue, that's the ice I ran into. Yellow is going to be meaning in the middle, there's also going to be an electric field. That would be explain the static from when the arrow hit. And then green would be acid, which is why, Jorg, you said it's corroding as it's sitting
Yeah.
up there.
It's a very slight corrosion. It feels a little bit weak for pure acid.
Okay. Well then. I'm thinking, I guess, 2. What have we got, magic-wise? I can do each of those
I can.
with the same spell, but I'd have to cast it 3 times, and I would prefer not to use up the vast majority of my magical prowess just in this room.
I've got frostbite. It says you cause numbing frost to form on one creature that you can see within range. Can I do it to a crystal,
Inanimate object?
or does it have to be a creature?
So for you, I'd say you can either roll Arcana or Religion, because for you, your magic comes from a religion.
Yeah. I'm gonna do religion. Ooh, 17.
17. You'd say that normally it shouldn't be able to work, but then again, the gems are made seemingly to absorb things thrown at them. So you think that it's most likely not going to work, but it could work.
It is a cantrip, so I might as well just try it.
All right. So you focus, and the spell doesn't take on anything, and you get the feeling that it's because you're not aiming at a creature.
Well, can't do that. I don't have an ice I can use, and I don't have fire. Oh wait, I do have fire.
We don't need fire.
Yeah.
We need ice, or we think we need ice, lightning, and acid.
Oh yeah. I was thinking ready.
My chromatic orb can do all 3 of those. Although,
Yeah.
Are we thinking that is acid down there or poison?
Ooh.
Poison wouldn't corrode the metal, though.
It would not. Also, this is,
Poison.
mages.
Poison is something that's a little bit weird because it depends on your perspective. Poison can severely irritate skin, so it does have the possibility to stick to something.
Okay.
In many sense, poison can be a very, very mild acid.
Well then, that's interesting. Well then, I guess. Have I ever taken?
Just think at the poison from snake, spitting cobras. It's poison, but it burns when they spit at you.
Okay. I'm assuming at some point in my past, I have gotten hit with some kind of poison.
Most likely.
Seeing as I am at least partly comprised of metal, does what I remember happening to me when I've come into contact with poison somewhat match the arrow?
That's interesting. Make a perception roll, because the arrow is basically 80 feet away from you.
Yeah. Nope.
So
That's
you're
a
there.
nat one.
You're there trying to squint
Guys.
your eyes, but it doesn't move. Really hard to tell.
Guys, I think there must be some kind of vision field on this tunnel, because I cannot see anything past where this landing is.
And Terranad keeps losing his resolution when he's watching this. Oh god,
Just
everything's
trying to
gone
zoom in and out,
pixelated.
find focus. It's just
I guess maybe turns to Olganak and minor illusions like puffy glittery and points at the gems. Rami don't fucking know his spell list.
That's what I'm looking at. Okay. Oh. Well, Ornak looks at you and says, well, I'd like to help you, but I have a few light spell. Everything else is just nature related. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna react to me trying to grab it with vines. I can try to make a moonbeam at it, but if what you're all saying is true, I'm not sure that radiant energy is gonna do a lot right now.
And it gives the Raven equivalent of a thumbs up and just turns to, I guess, basically to audience and Fisher.
Okay. I mean, audience will breathe lightning on the yellow one.
Okay.
I'll do it.
I
Yes.
could turn into a poisonous snake.
Okay.
And,
try and bite.
and yeah.
Do
just
I
try to-
think these crystals would be able to absorb non-magical elements that it's attuned to, or do I think it has to be magical?
I'd say with what your passive arcana would be, most likely has to be magical. It's an arcane laboratory, and it's a lock made to be unlocked by mages.
Yeah, Jorg, I don't think that'd work. I think it needs to be actually something magical.
Damn.
Well
All right.
then, should I kick it off with Blue first, or audience? Do you want to?
I'll kick it off.
I guess, do we think the order matters?
What were
Or
the
how
numbers?
about-
No.
Why don't I start, because ice is the first one,
Ice
just
is the
to-
first one.
just to confirm that this will in fact work.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Well then, this is gonna take a bit,
So you take out your diamond.
and I get real close. so I don't miss.
No,
Because I'm not great with this thing.
Make an attack roll. 1. The beam, the ice ball goes backward.
Done that before.
No, I'm.
No, wait, hear me out. Hear me out. Raimi does the help action, steadying his arm.
So
I
yeah,
just point my arm out, and Raimi's just like under it doing this.
and then we have audience going in front of it, distracting the gem, so it has disadvantage. All right,
Okay.
so
I will pull out my crystal and shoot a ball of ice energy at the blue crystal.
all right. I want to say roll, but I'm not gonna be mean about this.
The fewer rolls we make, Fisher make the better.
You're attacking
That was a dirty 20.
Nice. Hey, it's you look at this and
I can hit inanimate objects with spells.
yeah, you go
Just not enemies.
you go really close. You put the crystal, you put your diamond right on the wall, and then you make the incantation. You see the chromatic orb forming and going inside the wall. You see the blue gem glow brighter and then go almost completely dark.
Okay. Then I will walk over and... Do we want to try and turn all 3 off first before we test this?
Raimi is going to repeat in audience's voice 4 hours.
Right. I'm just gonna step onto the first tile.
Okay, so you turn around, you go to the first tile, and you nervously step 1 foot on it, and nothing happens.
I think we're good. Audience, you wanna go for the second one?
Audience will breathe lightning on the second one.
All right, you inhale, concentrate your breath weapon, unleash it on the wall. The wall doesn't get damaged at all. The gem seems to reach out from behind the wall, grab the lightning energy that you've just thrown at it, absorbs it, glows brighter, and then also goes practically dark.
Okay, well then. So that I don't waste a spell, can I move up to... Can I tell where the divide is? I guess if it's 90 feet, it'd be every like 30 feet.
I'd say make an investigation.
Also, just for note,
24.
does the magic radiating from the tiles are they still the same, or does it feel inactive?
It feels dormant. Not completely inactive, but dormant right now. Minimum emanation.
All right. So I think what Raimi would just do is he would walk until there was a difference in the tiles again.
So you basically reach the position where Fisher is. Because Fisher, you're looking at this, and as you walk on this corridor, you do feel while you're going through the first 30 feet, there was this freezer smell. And then when you reach the next 30 feet, this is where you notice that, all right, on the ground there do seem to be a slight seam that goes all the way to the wall. So it does seem to be like another entire section that was made out of solid material placed there. And in this one, you do feel the tingle of static energy. But it's very mild right now. And Remy, you can even see your feather just go a little bit because of the the hanging static inside of this. And you find yourself right beside Fisher, who is standing at the last 30 feet, where you see a slight seam on the ground. You do recognize that there is a 30 feet section right in front of you that is most likely still active.
Now that I'm right in front of it, can I tell if it is poison versus acid?
I'd say make a perception roll. Yeah.
No, 6.
6. So you try and figure this out, and there does seem to be a little bit of condensation forming on the arrowhead, and you get the feeling that it's too mild to be acid. Remy being right in front of this and being more sensitive to poison than Fisher is because he has natural resistance, you do feel as when you walk right where it's supposed to be, you have a reaction of oh, it smells and feels like poison, like trying to walk into a the last moment of a stinking cloud spell.
Probably remembers this smell from like loading poison daggers. Probably.
Possibly, yeah. The last moment of fume that.
Maybe just minor illusions, a symbol of a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Alright, well, guess that's that then. And then I will walk back and use another spell slot to cast Chromatic Orb with poison on the green gem.
Alright, you cast it on the green gem, and you see the gem glow bright, absorb the spell, and then grow almost completely dark.
Well, that was half of my magical ability for the day. So either we're out of here within the next 4 hours, or I can't use any magic for the rest of this lab, or we sleep here. So let's get moving.
Okay.
From inside of you, Fisher, you hear Taranad say, usually you're only supposed to say or for the last option, no?
We're not doing grammar. Grammar's off limits.
That's all you hear from the outside. We're not doing grammar. All right. So,
I woke up on a pirate ship. It's a surprise I can talk.
that would be something
Or
special.
even be intelligible to begin with, instead of
Yeah.
just being like...
Fisher has an auto censor option on it, so when he's talking, you only hear you beep, and you're just gonna beep beep beep. I'm gonna beep your beep ass.
Until you could only beep sideways.
And then, yeah, I guess we'll keep moving.
All right, you all make your way across the corridor, and you all feel these changes as you're going, and you find yourself entering a new room. As always, the corridor is just there's a 5 feet section which seems to be just the buffer between the two rooms. But you walk and you find yourself in. Hold on, conjure up this image here. All right, you find yourself in a almost rectangular room. The door opens normally. Do you enter the room first, or you just look at the room from where you are?
I think it's always good to look from an open door first.
All right.
I mean, hey,
Although
detect
maybe
magic
someone
is
else
still
can
active,
look.
So
My eyes aren't great today.
All right. So you enter this new room. The room feels a little bit cozier. It's rather large, circular in shape. Um, there do seem to be what looks like large couches on each side. A huge. You guessed that the color was most likely red at one point. Carpet at the center, but it's been neglected there for quite some time. And you can just barely see on each side. There seems to be two doors leading in a diagonal direction. So basically, when you enter, you're at the bottom. You're at the bottom here. There is this round-ish room, and there's one door here and one door here, going slightly in diagonal. There's a few pillars just beside where the carpet would end. Pretty pillars, decorated well. The general feeling of this room feels like a resting area. Or at least it feels like it would be cozy enough to be a resting area. Remy, you still have a little bit of your detect magic active when you enter this room. You don't see anything magical popping up with the range that you have.
I guess, I mean, Raimi will just I guess cautiously going in, like maybe just like taking the dodge action as he's going in, but just kind of, just like walking in and just like keeping an eye out for anything apart from the obvious.
Okay, make a perception roll.
That's gonna be a 14.
Okay. As you enter the room, nothing seems to catch your attention. Like I said, there is a feel of coziness. If you're a gnome or dwarf, it's not what you would personally find very attractive for a room, underground, lit by magical sources. But other than that, it really has a feeling of a waiting area or a resting area. There does seem to be a little smell hanging of campfire. As if someone had actually made camp in this room, probably in the last few days. Maybe in the last.
Which track?
Maybe in the last 3 or 4 days. Because it's such a closed room, there is not a lot of wind, so there's this feeling of this smell of ash and coal that's still hanging around a little bit. The door, the two other rooms. Sorry, there is also one door that is right in front of everyone, completely at the other end of the room. A double door, closed. The doors on each side, however, the same sign as you just came in, look open. And as you enter, you can more clearly see from where they go. The one on the left you can't see very far in. Looks like there was some sort of cave-in. But the one on the right, you can't see the end of the corridor behind the open door. It just goes on for a few feet before it turns in a direction and you can't see the other end.
I guess if nobody's walked in behind him yet, Remy just kind of like gives the okay sign. He's probably gone several enough feet where it's just like, yeah, it's probably fine.
Hey, that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
Looks a bit old when you walk inside. You know, the decor is not of this era, so you know it's not the you wouldn't call this fashion's edge, at least not of this century. But there are a few couches. You do get the smell of old campfire when you enter in this place. But the room itself seems to be very quiet. Bit of a change. You don't feel like you're being observed by magical traps. Unless the carpet at the center of the room is a magical trap, but Remy, you didn't see anything as you entered.
I want to look at the double doors. Are they just normal looking doors?
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. They look like a normal set of double doors. You can even notice as you're approaching these doors that they seem very slightly ajar.
Okay. Like ajar enough to peek through, or just like
You wouldn't have a great angle at seeing a lot of things, but you'd probably be able to see something.
oh, might poke my eye up to it.
Alright, well, make a perception roll.
All right. I keep rolling 15s. That's a 21.
Well, you know, makes up for the bad rolls in the in the roaming groves.
Yeah.
So you go to the end of the room and you start listening in, trying to peek through the doors. While you're doing this, audience, is there anything you'd like to do in this large room that doesn't seem to be trying
Audience
to
is
kill?
going to cast Divine Sense just to see if he can detect anything.
Oh, right. Hold on. Divine Sense. Let me get a reminder of what it picks up. Divine Sense. Okay. So you activate this, and do you just move about in the room and try and pick up if there is anything, or do you just go at the center of the room and try and pick up everything?
Yeah, I would go to the center and see how much, if I can pick up as much as possible.
Okay. So you go at the center of the room and just look around, trying to figure out if you can sense anything. It's a bit odd what you're sensing. It does feel like there is a very faint residual trace of undeath. As if something undead went through this room not long ago, but it's not here anymore. Like picking up the after smell of something that burned that has this bad smell that you can identify because of your divine sense.
Fair enough. Could I sense like where the undead might have headed, or what?
So standing at the center of the room like this, and you're just trying to figure out where it is, it feels like it went from the doors that Jorg is trying to peek through and is listening in, to, you'd say, near the entrance to the corridor that seems to have caved in.
Okay.
Jorg, from where you are. Yeah, anything else, audience?
No, that'll be all.
Okay. Jorg, you're trying to figure out if there's something, and you're listening into the next room and trying to see. You manage to catch an angle at the end of the room. It doesn't seem to be a very deep room. You'd say maybe 30 feet away from the door. Feels like you can see a body on the ground, slouching on a column. It's not moving. It's hard from where you are to be sure that it's dead, but it's not moving as if it was asleep either. But you don't hear anything from the room, with a small exception of a very faint humming sound. Just a small...
I wanna tell the others about that. I wanna say, hey guys, looks like there's a body over behind these doors. And also, can you guys hear that weird sound?
No.
Well, actually, I can hear it, but I don't think it's the one that your players are hearing.
I guess as Raby gets closer to it and peeks his head through, does he detect any bit of magic? Especially if he's talking about a humming sound.
Does detect magic go through doors, or do you have to open the doors and enter?
I believe the limitation is like up to like 3 foot thickness of wood.
1 foot of stone.
There.
1 inch of metal, and 3 feet of wood. All right. So, moving toward where Jorg is, taking in the last few moments of your detect magic, which has a range of 30 feet. You do feel that there's a residual magical thing inside of there, but feels like you have to enter the room if you want to actually see where this is coming. But on the 30 feet that you can sense from the door, you don't feel the source of magic, but there does seem to be a faint magical radiance inside the room.
Any minor illusions, some sparkle dust for everybody.
So, what do you do? Jorg, audience, Fisher?
Okay. I think we should go through the doors.
I will mention the undeath that by the caved in part.
You
Does that feel like something we should handle sooner rather than later?
I mean, it felt faint, right? Like
Very
it wasn't-
faint.
It felt very faint. Like it wasn't anywhere near. Might have not even been here for a long time. Very long.
Okay. That's from a different direction than the double doors, right?
No, actually, from the strength of this. Well, actually, audience, do you go to the double door like everyone else, or do you remain in the center of the room like this? Audience?
Sorry, could you repeat? Wait, so.
So when you see everyone moving toward the door, do you remain at the center of the room, or do you go forward a bit?
I would go forward.
Okay. How long does your divine sense last? Is it just a flash thing, or you...
I think
It's
it's
a flash thing.
It's a flash thing. so
until
it's
the
just
end of your next turn.
It's into, yeah. So like 6
Depends. Yeah.
seconds.
Over the course of 6 seconds, basically.
Okay. So no, all right. So you have this. You only had this flash moment of undeath. It did seem to come from the room that Jorg is trying to spy in, going toward where the corridor caved in. But because it only lasts for a brief moment, you don't get anything more out of this. So what did you do?
I guess we'd look through the doors.
open them.
Open them.
Are they locked?
No,
No,
there's
it's a little ajar.
They were left open.
Okay.
Dorg actually peeked his head inside.
Yeah. Should push it open a little further.
Are we trying to be stealthy about this?
As stealthy as possible.
everyone turns around
I guess
looking at
Dorg was
Fisher.
making the stealth then.
All right. So how do you do this?
I rolled a 13 on stealth to open the doors, if that's all right.
Well, that would be more for you. I'd say sleight of hand to open the door very, very slowly and make sure that it doesn't creak or anything.
Yeah. That would be an 11.
Okay. Yeah, so you start opening the door and, you know, you hear it scrape on the ground just a little bit, and then suddenly you feel something hard hitting on it, and you hear Remy just go, ah! Oh, okay.
Cringing.
So you were basically opening the door, slowly crushing him as you were opening the door. So yeah, opening the door stealthily hasn't been very good for you. But, you know, you're fairly soft-stepped when you enter this room right after. But, all right.
The body move.
So you open this double-sided door, and now you can see inside the room in front of you more easily. I'd say the first ones to enter, since Remy is being crushed by the door, I'd say would be Jorg and Fisher. Make a perception roll as you enter this room.
Ooh, at 23.
Okay.
10.
Now they're preparing him for a Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, so Fisher, you got slightly distracted because you went to help Remy not get crushed by the door. But Jorg, you entered the room and you look inside, and now you can see more clearly everything that's there. The room is about it's about 40 feet deep. Slightly squared, although at the other end of the room, the sides have been sort of cut off as a shape. There are a few pillars in the room. On one pillar, you see this form there, the one that you could see from the ajar door. But on the other side of the room, you don't see a door in the normal sense of the word. You see a door painted on the wall. And beside it, you see a large receptacle with 8 holes in it, roughly the size of a small plum. And below it, you see another receptacle with plum-size balls of different colors in it. From where you are, because you just entered the room, it's hard to tell which are the colors and how many they are. But what you do see is, sitting next to this large receptacle, you see another body. And to your left, slouched on another column, you see a third body. One looks like a gnome. 2 others looks like dwarves. From your perception roll, you get the feeling that they're dead because their hands, which you can actually see, looks completely desecrated, as if they'd been there for a very long while or exposed to necrotic force until they died.
Ew.
I guess this is the rest of the party then. Did we know how many were in the party?
Nope, you didn't ask.
No. Okay.
Rainy eventually squeezing his way from behind the door, looking inside.
Glaring at Jorg for a moment as he passes.
I guess is the reason why we can't see the colors is because of darkness, or
No, it's just because it's 40 feet away from you, and the what seems to have the color are the size of small plums. But if
okay, but there's no light problem in here.
no,
Okay,
it even seems to be magically lit. Although you're not sure where it's coming from, but since you've entered this place, you've sort of gotten used to light that you're not sure where it's coming from. But it does seem to be artificially lit.
Okay. Raimi, or is detect magic still active?
No, you'd have to cast it again now.
Okay. So, well then, Rainy then is going to go off to the side and just do
the ritual.
Get used to this, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
While he's doing that,
Yep.
can I investigate the bodies?
Sure. Make an investigation roll.
See First of all, what I think, if I can find out, killed them, and then what if
All right, so
they have anything.
medicine to determine the cause of death, and investigation to go through their stuff.
Okay. So that is for the medicine. That would be a dirty 1.
You know, they. You think that it's because they stopped breeding.
Things tend to
I'm
die
not-
when that happens.
yeah. You know,
That could've
I
come
like
before.
poke him just to make sure he's actually dead. Not positive, but I don't think. And yeah, and then that's a nat 1 on the investigation check.
Damn.
Totally fine in here, guys.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
you look at this and they stop breeding. That's probably what causes their condition. You think one of them, its heart might have stopped. Also, this is also very fatal for humans, for living animals, such as dwarves and gnomes. Their bodies seem to be slightly charred, a bit like the first body, so there might have been lightning involved, but they're so crispy, you know, you're having trouble pulling their limbs apart to get a good look inside of their stuff. So you basically find yourself just tearing apart the backpacks of those poor adventurers and trying to rummage through their things. You do notice that most of their weapons and armor are very badly damaged. Bit of a seems to be welding scorch on them. Most of it is unusable. You do get bits and pieces. You might be able to reform something like an explorer's backpack, an explorer's bundle. Good lord, what's the name of it again? Anyway,
Pack.
Yeah, that's it. But they don't even have money on them. And with a roll like that, some of the things just roll on the floor, and you just ignore them as they're rolling away, and find a sheet of paper, and you know, it's a bit crumbly. You just toss it aside, and you feel a bit distracted as you're looking through these things with such low roll.
I got the sense that for some reason they would have some specific magic item on them that was the reason they died, and that's the only thing I'm looking for, and I'm throwing everything else away.
You know, at one point
Maybe the person who could definitely do something about this.
you start
Still
at one
looking
point,
through his
Fisher,
book.
you start thinking that if you just dig inside of their chest, you might find the answer. So you just take a weapon and start eviscerating them.
I think I definitely accidentally break a limb or two off, and I'm like, is this disrespectful? I'm gonna stop.
Am I the baddie in this situation?
All right. Yeah. So maybe I can give you all a few minutes to think about what you want to do in this room. We're gonna take the break while we're doing this. So we'll come back after this very interesting image of Fisher gutting charred dead corpse. And we're gonna be back in 10 minutes. See you all back in 10 minutes. And while we're waiting, you know, if you're not already following us, why not click the following button, you know? If we reach 50, things might start to change, so it could be nice. But if you don't, well, you know, just go grab something to eat or drink, and we'll see you back in 10 minutes. Bye.
Alright.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back. So, I hope you had a good break. I hope you click on the follow button and that you also got something to eat, drink, or emptied your bowel, whatever you needed. And so we get back into this, into the episode with Remy Fisher. Well, Fisher essentially actually doing an autopsy of a dead person while trying to investigate because he rolled so poorly with everything. Jorg probably looking at this, not sure what he's supposed to do because what the heck? Audience entering and, probably having this initial reaction of what the heck also. But then again, he's known Fisher for a little bit of time, and maybe there's something I should explain to him. And Remy on the side, finishing his ritual casting. and Orunak just looking at everyone. Well, this is entertaining. Gruesome, but entertaining. And so this is where we get back inside the episode. So, Remy, you finish your ritual casting. As you finish this ritual casting, audience, Jorg and Fisher, is there something else you'd like to do?
I wanted to go check out what those receptacles were.
Okay. So,
while he's doing-
and audience?
I'll just stay by Remy for now.
Okay. That helps his concentration. He stops focusing on the dismemberment of corpse and goes to looking at audience. Nice. It's calming. It's
It's
soothing.
really weird because like the natural artificial light in this place just naturally like resonates with your scales. It's so weird.
In Remy's eyes, of course. So, all right. So, Remy, the moment that the spell ends, you see that there is magic at the end of the room where Jorg is. The receptacle itself, where he is, has a lot of magic. And you... It's a bit weird because you look at the receptacle and you see every single school of magic radiating from it. All schools are there.
That's not ominous.
You see on the wall where the door is painted that there is magic radiating from this in the exact shape of the door. And you pick up something upward. You look up and you see embedded in the wall something very similar to what you saw with the gems, but deeper inside the wall you see a conjuring room, conjuring glyphs embedded in the ceiling. Sorry.
Okay. Oh God. Well then, Ravi is going to point at the receptacle area, and what's an alarm sound in this universe?
Probably the thing that you would have heard the most are the bells from towns when they're attacked. Dong, 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 dong. Usually we're under
Ravi's
attack.
going to imitate that sound at the receptacle.
So George, just as you're approaching this receptacle and you're seeing it with more details, there's this large receptacle at the top of it. Now you see that it's filled, and you see clearly there are 8 holes on it. You see the second receptacle, which is actually part of the same receptacle. It's just a depression under it, sort of like looking at the pouch from a billiard table, where you see 8 orbs of different colors. And just as you watch this and you start getting closer to this, trying to see maybe what's this, you hear the ding 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 from a village being attacked.
Well, I'll get out of there as soon as I hear that. Run back into the group, not realizing that it's Raimi at first.
So of course it's a bit sudden. Fisher, you are tearing through these corpse. Bits of papers are rolling about.
I'd stop after the first one. With the body specifically.
Okay, but you're
All the backpacks are
yeah.
a mess.
But your investigation was a bit botched, so there's stuff all over the floors. Dried rations, a pot, a few scrolls just rolling around on the floor, going away.
Definitely harder now for anybody else to find anything.
Alright, so first what Raimi is going to do is just to make sure that everybody understands what he's discovered. First he points to the ceiling, and he will minor illusion the symbol for Conjuration School.
Okay, well, there's the slight... Fisher, I'd let you roll Arcana, because you can take one spell outside of your list.
21.
21. You recognize it. You've seen it enough that you can actually recognize it. What's the actual shape of it? It's conjuring. It actually looks a bit like the face of Orunak. A bit triangular in shape, with sort of a branch going off on each side, and a line at the center. And probably, well, actually, Jorg, you could also roll religion for this, because as a shepherd druid, you are fairly accustomed to conjuring things.
Yeah. Ooh. Not this time. I got a 6.
Yeah, no. You look at this and it feels like he's trying to draw a picture of the face of a goat from your perspective.
And then quizzically, Raimi is going to point to the receptacle, and he's going to minor illusion the table of contents for a for an introduction to spellcasting spellbook.
So you see a page appearing in midair with, in order. Hold on, I have this somewhere. In order, you see illusion, enchantment, summoning, abjuration, necromancy, invocation, evocation, divination, and alteration. And a number of page beside each one of them.
Okay. So there's
And just
only
kind of like just takes his talons and just gestures at the whole page.
so there's telling me there's literally everything in this room.
Raimi nods and then points at the receptacle area.
That's ominous.
And now Raimi's going to do the hard thing now. And he is going to investigate the room and the bodies to see if... Or I guess I say the room because now there's just like stuff littered all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And Raimi will use his lantern ability to give him advantage on these investigation rolls.
Okay. Use a charge.
You don't need it. You've already got it. I'm helping.
I'm helping. Look, everything's on the floor now. You don't have to look inside the backpacks.
Oh God. Oh God.
The DC is going to be slightly higher because...
Well, with the advantage, I roll a 19.
Okay. So, I don't know why I want to make this canon. That audience just sneezed in the room. I don't know why. I just want to. As everyone is rummaging and looking very serious. Oh, this is ominous. Oh, goodness. And you see Remy starting to look in the bodies and in everything. You just hear audience in the background go...
Bless you. That's a thing people say, right?
I only need the dragons to bless me.
Wow. Okay.
And the dragons are back.
Thought I was being nice. Guess I won't try that anymore.
Stick to what you're good at, Fisher.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh goodness! From inside
He's
of
really good at dismemberment.
From inside of you, Fisher, you hear, which is not a lot of things.
You shut up.
So, Remy, you look around and it's so hard. Fisher did such a good thing spreading everything around. You do find a few scrolls that looks like they were writing on it. There is a few indication of previous rooms, which would have most likely been helpful if you could have seen them. In one of the parchment, you have a drawing of the exact path to enter the first room. On this, on another parchment, you find the spell element associated with each color for the gems. On the third scroll, however, this third scroll seems to be talking about this room, and you get the feeling from what's written that they didn't find the answer to this one. There are a few passages saying that there's still one room they haven't explored. And most likely the answer is somewhere in there. But this room is so dangerous. The room that you're in right now. You have hasty scribbling, writing. It's a combination lock. The more mistake you make, the worse the punishment gets. We have to find the key. This is where it stops.
Also, just to be clear, like like there were no like apart from like these scrolls, which keeping just in case. There was nothing else of note like in the room that had been like tossed about, or anything magical that the people would have had on them.
No, nothing magical. You get the impression that the team, which was there, were of a lesser level than you. So they got in, and it feels like they were a bit ill prepared.
Okay, all right. So Raby, in fact, specifically, if audience was in the room, just kind of like literally just starts walking over to him, puts both talon hands out, and just starts trying to push him out the doorway.
Audience looks at Remy like, what are you doing? And also, can you push any harder than that?
Remy is going to try now. Higher than I expected, but still only an 11.
Audience will contest. With a 23.
So basically, it feels like something that happened to me in one of my HEMA class, where I was partnered with someone who said, "You're a lot stronger than me. I want to know what it would feel like if you actually really resisted what we just did." So he came in front of me and he took the position, tried to move my sword away from in front of me. I said, "All right, whenever you want. Put as much force as you want on it." And I hear, "I am pushing."
Maybe just taking his flabby arms and just trying so hard. And like Gravy looks up at you, audience, with this very pleading look.
I'm like, Remy, use your words, not your actions.
Remy gives
Or anybody's
up and,
words. They don't have to be
Yeah,
yours.
so they don't have to be yours.
It's like, "Oh, Remy, I know you want to, but you're just not ready yet."
Not ready for what?
Remy points at the receptacle and just gestures the entire room.
You don't want me to touch the receptacle.
He points to you, points to himself, points to Fisher, points to Jorg.
Alright, I won't touch
Minor
the...
Illusion's a big neon sign gesturing outside of the room.
I won't touch the receptacle. And I get the room's dangerous, but I think we also need to figure out this room to proceed.
Rainy is going to Minor Illusion a safe. With the safe with like one of those like turnstile locks on the front of it.
I was like, do you want us to leave our stuff outside so it doesn't get damaged?
Raimi shakes his head, looks to Fisher, looks to Jorg, looks to Olnak fleetingly.
I think we need to figure out what to do in this room before we actually do anything in here.
Yeah, definitely seems like some shit went down in here.
Audience looks excited at ship possibly going down.
Not the kind of stuff you can swing at with the
Audience
sword.
looks disappointed.
Well, Remy.
Raimi
Raimi
is
wants
going
us to leave and come back once we have figured out either the key to getting through this room or something like that.
I mean, don't we have to look around to find the key to get into this room?
Raimi presents the scroll that detailing the suspicions of the group about this room.
Couldn't technically we also call the garden, turn the camera on, and have someone who's more of an expert in magic help us figure out what's going on?
But that would be admitting that we don't know what's going on.
I'm perfectly okay with that if I don't get blown up by magic.
Well, we just don't need to.
I mean,
I don't
isn't that
think
what the
we're
guard
there
is
yet.
there for? Oh, okay.
Since
There is
audience
another-
isn't reading the paper, he walks over to Fisher.
Did you find this?
Gestures at the mess on the floor.
Huh.
I was just thinking to himself, he should have given an orb to. He maybe should have given an orb to his mage friend. She could have probably been helpful with her expertise right now.
Well, yeah, I guess I will start moving back into the other room.
Yeah, there's that other hall we could go down.
Mm-hmm.
One,
Actually, while Raimi,
Yeah.
I mean, like if we're all leaving the room, while Raimi still has his lantern active, he does want to investigate go run over and investigate the room with the cave-in.
okay.
Basically, just trying to like looking for any signs of anything, but then maybe also try to determine like whether it was a natural cave-in or whether it was done on purpose.
Okay. So you move back into the other room and you start this investigation. So make an investigation roll.
Like, I'm making the most of this, bitches. Okay, so soft 20.
Okay. While Remy is investigating this, because it's not something that's going to take 6 seconds to investigate, audience, Fisher, and Jorg, do you actually leave the room? Well, Fisher, I think you said you were leaving the room. But audience and Jorg.
Audie is going to put his orb and actually check the color, because he should have done that before.
The color on the orb is oscillating heavily between red and yellow.
Audience looks more worried. Audience
Like,
goes,
that might
guys,
explain
just to let you
why
know,
they didn't come back."
we don't have a great escape option this time, so let's not be too hasty.
He says just moments after saying, like, hey guys, let's be hasty.
Man, it's all about learning,
No, it's
adapting to new information.
It's great, you know. I'd like to have these moments in animation where you see audience go, you know, we should hurry just a little bit, take the orb, look at it, and well, maybe we should take it our time, just a little bit, you know.
Fisher's gonna go. I'm just gonna go sit down in one of the chairs that are probably too small for me in the resting room
Well,
because
actually, no, because they're, like I said, they're more like couches, so they're lounging couches. It's really a room that feels like it was there for visitors waiting there, you know.
I'm going to sit down and attempt to recenter myself because apparently I've not been helping out at all.
You've been a little
You
bit
need to
off.
recalibrate.
Yeah, I think something with the teleports
They just keep
shocked my system a little bit. A little bit of a short circuit.
You know, take a few moments to look at Terry. Why not?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll bring him out
Okay.
and sit him down.
So, one thing you do notice is that when you take the box out, the metal joints feel slightly warm.
Yeah. Yeah, how I opened it up. Is he alive?
He's alive. He looks slightly stressed,
Okay.
breathing a bit heavily, and being very sensitive on his perception. The moment you open the box, you sort of see him just go. And
Yeah. Oh.
you have this moment where, with your passive arcane perception, your passive arcana, you'd have the feeling that, oh yeah, oh, good thing I used this box made by a dwarf. You think that the box probably acted a bit like a Faraday cage. So the lightning got absorbed by the fact that there are metal elements on the sides, and it just grounded itself into you. But from inside, poor Terry probably saw flashes of light for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
This man is dying. He's not living.
He's gonna survive forever.
And you do notice that there's a puddle, there's a small puddle of warm bile at the bottom of this. And Terry was just beside it because he also got a very cold reception a few minutes after being shocked.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling he's keeping warm with the warmth of his own bile.
That's kind of gross.
Oh, that's so desperate.
He doesn't have a lot of means. He's just 3 days old.
Sorry, bud. I will, like, take him out and, like, put him on, like, my knee or something, and then, like, clean out the box.
Alright. You have Fisher just turning the box around, and audience, you haven't had a lot of opportunity to see Terranad because you weren't in the same inn as they were all. But you do notice that Terry seems to have been mistreated a little bit. And he looks very nervous. He does have the demeanor of an animal that's coming out of being panicked.
Can I do an animal handling check to try and calm him down?
Sure.
I have a -1 to it.
Sure, or you can ask your druidic friend who thinks you're just an object to try and do this.
Nah, I got this. That is a
He
dirty
complains-
1.
He complains about his rolls, but continues making them pulping.
No, we have a great.
I've recently decided that it's more fun to just roll with it. Yes, that's a 2 -1.
Okay, so you look at him and you have this moment of, I wish so much I could help you, but I don't know what to do.
It looks cold. I think about, like, what do... I mean, I've got fire... Oh, no, that wouldn't be a good idea.
Like, now that I think most creatures don't like being on fire. Terry
Yeah.
included, probably.
Yeah, shooting a firebolt into the small... Yeah, no, probably not the best idea.
So you take a few moments to try and reassure Terry, and he does seem to take comfort in the fact that you're cleaning out his box. But you have the feeling that that's about as far as it gets. You really still don't get Terry. Jorg, because he made such a bad roll and you have a passive nature stat that is higher than the roll he did, you sort of get this little tight feeling in your stomach, this knot looking at this poor creature and say, oh goodness, oh yeah, the shock, oh the cold,
Realize. Yeah. Next time.
Fisher's a good parrot, you guys.
Hey, Fisher.
Yeah?
If you're comfortable with it, next time you go into a dangerous situation, I can hold on to the box.
Are you not coming with me into the next dangerous situation we're in?
Oh
I
no,
think he
I'm talking
means
like
if you're testing it.
if you're testing a trap that we're pretty sure is there. Yeah, because I'll admit I also kind of forgot about your little friend there. How's he doing? Can I kind of poke in?
I have no idea.
You can make an animal handling check. You know.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. Ooh, a natural 20.
Let's go, Drews.
Nice contrast. Fisher looking at Terry completely lost and then George just kneeling in front of the animal and just starting to pet the animal, and you see that Terry is slowly calming down, and you know, you take just a little bit of water from your water skin and dropping it in front of him, and he does drink a little bit, and you just rub your hand a little bit in your hand so he gets warm, and you put your hands on Terry, and it does feel like he likes it.
Dab up the... Oh wait, maybe he's using the bile. I feel like I should clean his box a little bit.
Like, I accept you, second daddy.
I'm doing.
It's okay, I can teach you how to love an animal. And you can
Say
teach me
he
how to
wasn't
love
an
a
animal?
robot.
Well, animal question mark.
An animal question mark. Yeah, actually, I don't really know what it is, but I know most of the things I deal with usually need heat and some water.
And not being shocked.
Yeah, and not being shocked. That's generally not a good
I guess that's fair enough.
Alright, so while all of this is happening, Remy, you investigate the tunnel, and one thing eventually catches your eye in this tunnel. It doesn't look like a natural cave-in. It looks like... Did you roll... what was your investigation roll?
Soft 20.
Soft 20. It feel like it was blown from the inside, as if something, an explosive of some sort, got in the tunnel and then blew up there very recently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, there's nothing particularly notable about the tunnel itself.
No,
Just,
it feels like it's
super caved in.
yeah, and just judging by how the rocks have fallen, you'd expect that the tunnel is probably completely caved in for more than a few feet. It's large boulders. In a way, because of what you just read, that there's still a key to be found. You're hoping that it's not on the other side of this, because that would take a long time to clear out.
You know what though? Like about how thick do I think it is? or do I have like a rough estimate?
With your investigation, you're not a dwarf, so it's hard to tell. But you'd say that it's at least a good 10, maybe 20 feet.
Okay, I'm going to. It's not very often I get to use this in this way.
Okay.
Because I need to double check the wording to see if I actually need to be able to see where it is. Okay. So, right. So at least according to this, it doesn't. Raimi is going to summon his familiar 30 feet in front of him.
Okay. The description of flying familiar. F. D.
So if I've already had the creature had the familiar summoned, and when I dismiss it, I can make it reappear in an unoccupied space within 30 feet, and it doesn't say I need to see it.
Okay. You concentrate.
Unoccupied.
Yeah, you concentrate and you focus on making it reappear in front of you, or is it the closest space in any unoccupied space within 30 feet of you? I'd have to say that you focus on making it appear in front of you, and unfortunately it appears at your feet. Meaning that within the arc that you have in front of you, the only place within 30 feet that isn't occupied is right at your feet.
All right, so then now Raimi knows it goes much further than that. Okay. Right, but also I guess while they're there, Raimi just kind of like kneels down and pets the back as an apology for earlier.
All right.
He like goes back to the waiting room, kind of like just points toward the cave-in area and just mimics the sound of an explosion.
George, you were doing so well with Terry. He was calming, and then suddenly you hear... and then suddenly Terry sort of jumps a little bit toward the sound and looks in the direction of Remy, and then you see him slide slowly toward Fisher.
Amy, come on, man.
It's been a very
Maybe
traumatic
didn't know
day.
you guys were looking. Maybe didn't know what you guys were doing while he was investigating.
Did you find anything over there?
Rainy shakes his head.
Well then, I guess there's just one path left, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess
should we
Rainy
check it
nods
out?
and just kind of like walks out toward the other door.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow him.
And while he's at it, he's going to use a spell slot to channel it into his lantern.
Okay. You channel a spell slot inside your lantern. It lights up once again. And you have one in reserve there. And Remy, you were since you were busy figuring things out. When you get back in the room, you do notice that Terry is out. Oh, you scared him.
In fact, maybe just kind of like awkwardly, just like does that sidewalk thing. Where it's just like what I mean. It's just like now you're being like tiptoe, just not breaking, I guess, eye contact with Fisher and Jorg.
Fisher, Terry is looking at the box you're cleaning intensely.
I will finish up and put him back.
After every session, I write a log for Terry. I'm so looking forward to writing this one. All right.
And then I will safely tuck him away somewhere, like in my backpack.
You hear Taranad inside of you say, maybe you should ask someone at the garden to make him a better box.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I guess we'll head to was it the right door?
Yeah. Well, now from your perspective, it's the left door, but yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
you all gather up and you move toward that door. And the corridor does seem to go down just slightly in a diagonal way. Then, after maybe a few feet, get the feeling that there's a slight slope. Not enough to slide, but just enough to feel it that, okay, you're actually going down the slope. And Remy, you sort of get the feeling, if that's the same thing on the other side, yeah, that's... that could explain something. But, and you do go down maybe a good 50 feet in this long hallway that seems to be very beautiful, but also plain compared to everything else that you've had so far. Making it feel like it's, not a place where people are taken to visit, but, or at least not a place that feels like it should be protected, like the other hallway and the first room. So it looks like it's made out of marble and just normal tiling, flooring, few decorations. It's still a gnome that made this. It goes down for, like I said, about 50 feet. Then it turns maybe 45-degree angle and then goes straight. Then you find yourself in front of a closed door. A closed double door.
I'm assuming both of my effects have worn off by the time we get to this door.
Well, taking into consideration the time that you took to investigate the cave-in, yeah. At least the detect magic is.
Okay. I guess just to be safe, Remy's just going to kind of investigate the door, seeing if there's anything up with it.
Okay.
I mean, so far most of the doors have been safe themselves, but
yeah. Yeah, sure. So
never hurts.
Investigation.
See, definitely not that one. Oh, then I get the nat 20. Okay. It's either a very safe door or a very dangerous door.
Okay. So in total, you have
25.
25. Okay. So you find yourself in front of this double door, and you look at it. There is a complex lock on it. But as far as you can tell, there doesn't seem to be any traps on the door.
And I guess I'll just have Raimi test the door, like to see if it's actually locked, or if it's just a fancy lock that exists.
Yeah. It doesn't open. You try to push on it, you try to turn whatever can be turned, and the door doesn't open. It is actually locked.
Right, in which case, Raimi is going to pull out the tools of thievery and see if he can undo the lock the mundane way.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll be real disappointed if this is actually an arcane lock and we're just stuck. Well, that's a 1 in 400 possibility. Another natural 20 for a total of 28.
Okay.
You're welcome. See, I have to take the bad rolls
Yeah.
so that you can have the good rolls.
Oh, no, excuse me. I'm an idiot. 26.
26. All right. It actually takes almost everything you can muster. You're at this lock for a few minutes, and you're actually really going at it. Oh, goodness, this is something stupid complex. But it really, just at the last minute, just as you're about to give up, you hear the...
But also, probably with his arms a little tired, like Raimi just like falls on his butt. It's like...
Yeah, and Remy was at this for a good 7 or 8 minutes, just...
Like, you didn't know Kenku could sweat.
Oh, it's actually a thing. All right. But you do manage to open it, and it really feels like, oh, okay, so this is, although not magically protected, it really wasn't something that the guests should have been able to get in easily. So with everyone standing behind you, you push the door, and they open slowly to a rather large room. From what you can tell, anyone that wants to look inside, get an idea of the room, you can make a perception roll.
I got a 19.
10.
Raimi was a little bit tired. He total of 13.
Okay. Okay, so you're in front of a very, very large room, around 60 feet deep and 30 feet on each side. So it's roughly a square. One thing that you can immediately notice is that there are 6 displays in the room with armors on it, and on each wall several displays of weapons. You have a good variety of weapons: swords, mace, axes, pole arms. They all look pretty well made. Some of them you would have to go right to them and evaluate them to be sure, but some of them looks like they have the same quality as Audience's shield. So either they are enchanted or could receive enchantment. And this is the first time that you actually see, okay, this might have actually been the specialization of this mage. Weapons and armor. It does feel like you have just entered into a large display room.
That's cool.
He doesn't still have detect magic running, right?
No, right. In fact, the minute we open up to this room, just like Raimi kind of like lets out like an exasperated sigh after he just like stands back up, walks over to a spot, flops down again, opens his book, and just starts doing the thing again.
Okay, so while Remy is ritual casting, audience, Jorg and Fisher, is there anything you'd like to do?
I'll look around.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, shiny.
You got told 10 minutes to kill, guys.
Does Fisher know what a animated armor is?
I'd say make an Arcana roll.
That's cocked. That is a 14, 16 with Terranat, because he's on Arcana now.
Okay. I'd say yes. You've heard of them, probably because it's what resembles you the most. So you would have researched them a little bit, just to make sure that you're not actually just an animated armor. So yeah,
it as an insult a couple times.
You animated bucket of bolts. So yeah, you have a feeling of what it can be. You know that they can be any armor. They're usually constructs, so there's mechanism inside of them, but some of them are purely fueled by magic.
Can I tell if that's what these look like, or does this, does anything in here look like it would jump out and attack us?
Well, if you want to go on the paranoid side of it, yeah, it feels like you are in the middle of a hall where everything could just simply jump at you and attack you from every single direction. to magical sword and magical armor and magical polearm and mace and so if you want to go on the most paranoid side of it, yeah, sure. You look at this and there's a moment of dread that comes in your stomach when yeah, I hope it's not that. And you turn around slowly looking at Remy with this feeling of, come on man, hurry up, I really want to know what this is.
Yep. Yeah. Audience, I think this is museum rules.
Don't touch.
Until Raimi's done with that.
Okay. Audience will then just look and try and judge if there are any nice pieces of things that he would maybe want.
It's a good thing because he was just about to touch this really nice sword. And museum roll, right? I've heard about this. Never actually been in one, but I've heard about it.
Heard the saying, doesn't know what a museum is.
Remy, did you step inside the room to cast this, or did you stay outside of the room to cast this?
He went into the room just because
and Jorg?
just like
Jorg followed them in.
Okay.
He's less interested in the armor though.
Yeah.
Unless there's any not made out of metal, but I doubt it.
No, the armors aren't, but there are a few interesting bows to look at. They're on their own. Druids don't really like bows, basically because of the arrows. But some are beautifully carved. Some shields that are made out of wood. You know that, okay, these are made very interesting. Whomever was making them, if it's the gnome to whom this laboratory belonged, he was a very artistic person. Because he did make very intricate patterns on them. And audience, you see the same thing. You see on the armors, their intricate patterns, decoration. And there's a side of this that really appeals to your dragonborn side. Yeah, it's if you didn't have a armor growing on you, which is extremely cool and feels like it could impress a lot of your past friends, an armor like this, just add a little bit of red and blue and damn, that's a very nice armor also. You get all of these display everywhere, and you just move further inside the room and look around, and it's impressive. Remy?
The weapons.
Yeah, weapons, armor, shields. There are even a few leather armors that also look very intricate and very beautifully made. Remy, you finish your casting and right, you look at your friends inside the room and then finish the casting, and then suddenly the room lights up. There's magic everywhere in this room. Armors, weapons. Either it was a place where they stored objects right after they'd been prepared to be enchanted, or it's a personal storage of very good weapons ready to receive an enchantment. But everything feels magical in this room. Every single weapon, in some degree or not, has some sort of enchantment. Some it's just radiating magic. Some you'd feel are maybe have the equivalent of a +1, so it's slightly stronger radiation of magic. The armor radiates magic stronger than the other things. There's something that feels a little bit dark about the armors, though, when you look in the helms. Bit unsettling.
Give me all of them. Every lie.
I guess I just kind of focusing on the helmets, do they radiate any kind of particular school, or
not really. At least not in a way that feels like it's obvious. It's not a armor that throws fireball. But there's definitely something very magical and very imprinted in them. As if something was lingering in them. it almost feels like it's also watching you. This unsettling feeling of watching a painting that no matter where you go, feels like it's watching you. You have the same feeling when you're watching these armors.
Oh man.
This place
How's
is
it look,
creepy as
Rami?
fuck, Rami.
Audience looks at all the weapons and be like, "Can I take any of them?"
They're on display. You can try and open the display. It looks like glass display.
I don't want them.
So did you open the display and try to take one?
I'm looking at Remy. Does he see any alarms on the displays?
Remy, your detect magic doesn't detect anything on the casings, but a lot of these weapons have magical auras.
I guess Rami will kind of like walk up, tap the glass, and give kind of like an okay sign. But then he does kind of like point to specifically the helmets of the armors and like minor allusions a question mark.
Okay. That's good enough for audience. Audience is gonna start collecting all the
Or-
cool weapons.
Rami, do you know the identify ritual?
Rami holds up a pearl and nods.
By the way, the glass has already been broken if anything happened.
So as you're having this moment with Remy, who seems to be very proud of showing you the pearl, which he can use to identify things, audience, you open the display. Oh, cool! It even doesn't seem locked. You open it. You take one sword, and then you hear. You all look in the room where you heard that. Just as you see this, you see the double doors that you entered from close, and one of the armor has just stepped down from its pedestal, and then you see another one of the armor, and then each armor steps down.
How many armors were there?
6 armor in total.
Okay.
And then just as you have this moment of, alright, action, you hear glass shattering and you see weapons starting to fly.
Uh-oh.
Not all of them, but a handful of them are rising on their own and pointing in your directions. And this is,
Audience, maybe put the sword back.
and this is where we're gonna end this stream.
Is that at least a good sword? Did I get a good sword?
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it?
Let's see. It's a beautifully made sword. Looks like a long sword. Very intricate design on it. Nothing that talks about dragons, but it looks sturdy from you holding it upside down. Seeing all of these weapons and armor starting to move, there is a small thought at the back of your mind. Weapon feels really well balanced. Oh. It's probably a good weapon. You'd have to let Remy identify it to know for sure if it's just
There's
magical.
that awkward moment where as all the weapons rise, audience casually opens his interspatial portal, tosses the weapon in. Like, this is mine now, and now I will fight you.
I'll go in there, and they'll chase me into the portal, and then I'll hop back out, and
Except
we
the
can
problem
kill.
is, I think they want me because I was the one that touched the weapon.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, all of the weapons aren't aiming at you. They seem to be ready to attack everything in the room. So
What
it's
happens
not
if-
all eyes on you. It's
What happens if I toss a sword into an interdimensional space now? Technically, I didn't steal anything because they can no longer detect it.
It's
That's how
gone.
that works.
I don't still have it. It's just
I don't have it. It's on our planetary system.
For some reason, the last time I tried this on the police, it's like, look, I don't have the gems anymore, so you can't arrest me.
Let me roll. Let me roll. a
sure
quick-
I stole them, but I don't have them
Let me
anymore.
roll a
So
quick
therefore,
charisma to see if I convince the inanimate objects of my point.
I'm just saying that possession is 9/10 the law, so I should get like 1/10 the sentence.
I mean, unfortunately, I think if they were police, I would have convinced them because I rolled a 21. I convince all you guys. You guys are convinced my point is valid.
so as this moment ends and you're about all ready to jump into a fight, you hear audience plea to a sword, and you can't help but to think, yeah, he makes a good point, but I don't think they're gonna listen.
I can argue with that.
Yeah, good point. It's you can't argue with it. Then again, I don't think they know how to argue. All right, so it does look like we're gonna start the next stream with a whole lot of action. So,
dope.
this is where we end tonight's stream. I hope you had an interesting evening. I hope you had fun with us or at us. Both are fine. And I hope we'll find you again with us next week as we start with almost certainly a imposing fight. So, well, there's 6 armor and floating weapons. Even if they're all very low challenge rating, you're gonna get hit, or at least tried to be hit, by a lot of things each round. So it's either way, it's not gonna be the easiest to fight. So, see you all next.
But luckily, we have a lot of cool armors we can try and throw on as we fight.
Yes.
That's not how that works, audience.
No, it's the
Do you know
perfect,
how much time it takes to don heavy armor?
It's the perfect dressing room. The test for them is already
it takes a
there.
whole hour.
The test for them is already there. You can test each armor's resistance and durability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last armor standing is the ones I'm gonna take.
Yeah, it could work. It would be odd, but it could work. Alright, so thank you very much, and as always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can also support the stream by making a donation, become a Patreon. All of these things you can do with the links that are below the window. If you're watching this on Twitch or on YouTube, there are links in the window below, in the space below, for all of these things. And as always, you can always just help us by spreading the word of this channel and telling everyone that, hey, when they're gonna come back next week, it starts with a fight. 95% sure. They might find a way around it, but it's unlikely.
We can talk our system way out of it.
What we could do is we could technically all jump into my interdimensional space, close it, and then because that would be us technically on a different plane, which might conclude that the swords would think that we had been eliminated, they might technically go back to their resting points.
Can't you only open it from the outside?
You can. I don't think so.
See what I mean?
The little hole open so you can unzip it from the inside.
See what I mean? They might try and find a way out of this fight, but then again, I think audience is bored out of his mind right now, so he's going to fight whatever the answer is.
Yeah, that's out of game. That's an out of game idea. Audience would not have that idea. Audience would be like, "Ooh, action!"
He's like, I get this cool new sword and I get to fight stuff. This room's the best.
What is the downside to this room?
Best room of his life so far. All right, so Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, and especially in these weird times we're having, stay healthy. Good night. Bye.
Good night.